Hey, welcome to Solutionary TV. Waking Up Solutionary TV presents Ascension series. We are doing Facebook Live. Why? Because we are pivoting, and I want to make sure that I can get my wonderful co-host on, Genesee Roy. Let's see if she is ready to join me in the comment section. We have got some exciting things to discuss this evening. Having just returned on the heels of the Dimensions and Disclosure Conference, there was some pretty exciting information that came up. Let me see if I can invite Genesee. She's coming in right now. Okay, let me see if I can welcome her. Genesee, how do I get you to join me? Because this is some pretty exciting stuff. There she is. She's joined. How do I invite her in? This is new technology for me, folks. We've got a studio. We've done GoToWebinar, and it looks like I can get you guys on board. Tap your picture. All right, lovely. Better get on here and join me. It just tapped your picture, and I'm looking to have you on. Thank you for being patient, our audience. I've double-clicked you twice, sweet soul. We've got some important things to discuss with Dimensions of Disclosure, and I am hoping that we are going to be able to have us both on and be sharing this information. Genesee, let me check you again. I have tapped your picture, lovely, and it is, let me see, not letting me necessarily get you in. It just keeps opening up a new browser. New notification, Genesee. All right, gal, how do I get you into here with me? See first message. Patience with all you folks that are trying to get on board. YouTube was giving us a hard time. It was not giving us a good bandwidth. Suggest, friends, see first, default. How do I get you in, Genesee? Clicking on you, not letting you in, beautiful. And this is going to be a shared live video, so I want to get you on board. There's absolutely nothing that looks like it's letting you in from what I can see. Friends, close friends, see first, message, activity. Genesee, hey Amy, thank you for joining us. We are so excited to talk about some really cool stuff tonight that has to do with this conference and everything that we picked up on. Welcome, thrilled to have you. Genesee, I'm not sure how to get you in the call. I'm wondering if maybe we need to work with the chat at this point until we can figure out how to master this. If we have anybody in our chat room, Amy, if you know how to invite another person into the call and actively have that person in the call, we are open to be working with this. We were already on a YouTube channel, and it just did not let Genesee in. But Genesee, gal, you haven't finished your post yet. Do you want to leave without finishing? No. We are going to stay right here. So Dimensions of Disclosure Conference was a voluminous and really comprehensive conference to have been at. There was so much going on. There was so much to understand. And you'd be surprised how amazingly cohesive the whole experience was in being able to segue and put together the pieces of timelines and preparation and the personal work that we had to do, the community and the collective work that we're all working on right now. And there was a really big aspect that Goode brought forth. For those of you that are familiar with Goode, he is really leading in so many ways, bringing forth prophetic wisdom and knowledge as a personal and really 3D experiencer with members of the Sphere Being Alliance, and also being very, very much an emissary between those that are here as part of the Secret Space program and those that are evolving in this disclosure movement, and those that are trying to maintain timelines because they are sentient life that's been part of this earth grid and been part of this evolving experience as we are all moving up in dimensionality, returning higher and higher in our own growth trajectory to source. And so the updates that he comes up with can be very profound. And what he shared, as was recently relayed to him, is that we are in kind of a God cloud, Christ consciousness, a deity bandwidth right now that is allowing and pushing each of every single one of us to become our own judge. Feel that for a minute. We are going to feel that immediate karma. He said the minute that you think something, you immediately become more aware in a way that is extremely lucid of where you're coming from. Was that a judgmental thought? Was that something that was catabolic? Is it going to be a win and a lose, meaning a win for you and a loss for someone else? It puts everything in a frame of reference that makes us have to go inward. And we become our worst nightmare and judge if we have not done some of the shadow work. So it was so important that Genesee get on this call and join us and be able to share, because she is such a huge contributor to the shadow work and has a 7-step process that we were looking to introduce tonight, that if we're not able to get her on because technology has been challenging us to see whether or not we will push through and be determined to share in our work, which we are very committed to doing, and bringing it to a level of community that we are also equally determined to do. And so what I may do is just pop off of this particular thread and come back on and do that more cohesively with her and make sure that we can stay on the air and be able to complete some of this journey work in the shadow, because this is a time, this isn't a time that any of us want to miss. We don't have 3, 6, 9, 12 months to say, you know what, I've got other things to be doing with my time right now. I've got to be building a business. I'm working on these relationships. I want to get my health into a certain place and lose 20 pounds, and I'm going to put this time and energy into the gym. All of those things are relevant, but they are absolutely baseless if you are not doing this personal work, because whether you're ready or not, the cosmos is. The timelines are now. We are in this. We've already co-created this. This is a massive cosmic conscious wave that since the dawn of time immemorial, and I'm talking about beyond the veil and in our multidimensional selves, we knew that we would have called this timeline in. And we knew that we would have needed to be prepared. So preparation is in our faces, and it is demanding our lucid reflection of what it means for each of us personally. I'm going to tell you something, being in Las Vegas, which is where I am now, having left Colorado, and before that Mount Shasta, it has been a whirlwind of travel, doing the work and bringing in the genius of so many that are way showers that are all over this planet. And my ardent desire and Genesee's determination to come together with the best of our expertise, to correlate it and to validate it externally by the many others that are getting their own inspiration, revelation, and intuition. We're bringing this forward to you because we want you to be part of this community, and we want you to feel empowered, and we want you to feel that you have a safe place to go. So looking down and realizing I still haven't figured out how to get Genesee on here, which just seems a little bit on the crazy side. Amy, so thrilled that you've hung on, and the few others of you that have jumped on as well. We've got some comments in the comment bar. It looks like, hey, Oliver, so thrilled to see you. Dave, wonderful to have you on here as well. We're just trying to figure out how to get Genesee to join us, because she's got 7 steps that she has worked on, and she's gone through the dark night of the soul. And those of you that have done the work, you know, the dark night of the soul is the time where we have to look at ourselves. No forgiveness is as hard, most will say, as self-forgiveness. Why? Why? Because we have to look at the imperfection that we have been manifesting when we thought, in many cases, we were doing a good job. And we may have the best of intentions, but if we haven't forgiven ourselves and moved forward, the truth of the matter is, and this is such an important eternal principle, you can't really forgive anyone else if you haven't learned how to forgive yourself. The love has to start here. The divine and I are one. As above, so below. If I can't see this married and anchored with this, I can't be whole and sufficiently merged and embodying every aspect that I am currently available to be able to show up for everybody else. And so this is shadow work I'm still working on. I have already forgiven everyone in my life, and I mean everyone. And that has been no small feat, no small feat. From the beginning of my life to now, everyone that I have ever harmed, I have asked forgiveness either to their higher self or directly. And this has been an arduous task, but it did not obfuscate for me, nor did it exonerate me from noticing that there's still shadow work, that there is still shadow work. I'm in Las Vegas. May I make a confession? I have a hard time with crowds. I have a hard time with mindless, fumbling, somewhat purposeless human movement from one level of stimulation and activity to another. The buffets, the mindless walking down the boulevard, the drink in hand, half conscious, in and out of various casinos. I find myself growing impatient and the energy way too dense. Does anybody else relate to what I am saying? Please tell me if you are feeling this. Genesee, I see that you're there. I'm still trying to get you on and keep the conversation going until we can figure some things out. If you can be doing any background, Genesee, for me and telling me what else I can do besides double click on you, gal, because right now all it does is open up another screen and it's just another Facebook that's wide open. Does not help me at all in being able to get you onto the show, darling. So the shadow work. The shadow work means as soon as you think you're done, as soon as you think that you have reached a new plateau, and you know, attaboys and attagirls, those are important. We can acknowledge when we have ascended beyond other levels with which we might have been more easily triggered. But when I am in crowds, just to admit to where I am with this, and a judgment comes into mind, and I realize, oh, I just did that. Why is this shadow work so important? I want to talk about why Corey Goode, via the Anshar, and the Anshar speaking with the guardians, and the guardians that have been protecting, shielding, and assisting humanity in stepping into our own power, being those extraterrestrials, those angels, those way showers that we've been looking for. Yes, there's been many starseed. There's been many starseed that have come down from other star systems and that have embodied as human beings. It's unquestionable. Some call them walk-ins, some call them wanderers. Do these sound like familiar terms, y'all? In starseed, light workers, light warriors, way showers, all of this verbiage, all of this vernacular is spot on. But the fact of the matter is that we are a collective that ultimately we can only progress so far being part of the same star system, with the earth being caught up in cyclical density and a reincarnation cycle and basically being stuck in its own mire. We need all of humanity to move forward. And when you take a look at what it is to embody, and I am definitely starseed, I'm familiar with other densities where this one in contrast is particularly heavy for me, and it can feel like sludge. But when you're in it and you're embodied and you're reminded, I can still be irritated by some of the sleepfulness, the highly distracted, almost primal focus of so much of humanity, and want to go, hey, we can move faster than this. Hey, we've got better systems than this. Why are you satisfied with this barely sufficing week to week, month to month, paycheck to paycheck? Why are you okay with the lies? I want to shake you and wake you up. How is this a satisfying, cycle of the right and the wrong game? And I think all of us recognize that we have our own aspects that we're impatient with if we're here as way showers. And we know that we've got ideas with health. I mean, some of you that are on here have been powerful way showers. Oliver, you're one of those. You have been absolutely driven to connect with powerful minds, powerful hearts and spirits, and being able to bring people into not only an empowered place, but also a place of inquiry and connection and community. Amy, you have been at the edge of the health community and serving in the local capacity that you have been, and now you're talking about bringing people into greater aspects of being able to bring down the powers of heaven and laws of manifestation, and really see that it isn't just health and or wealth. This is consciousness. This is consciousness empowered and expanded. And Genesee, my wonderful co-host, so much work that you've done with the shadow that I know that you need to bring forward in assisting those of us that are also maybe a little bit further along than the average Eartharian. We're not all Eartharians, guys. You may be in a human body, but if you listen and can hear the call, of being a way shower, a star seed, a wanderer, a walk-in, a light warrior, any of those that resonate with you. Who's seen 1111? Who's been haunted by numerical codes their whole lives? Who knew and could feel and sense intuitive things that those around them didn't have any clue were going on because their veils were a lot heavier and none of that latent intuition was running? You know that you were here at this time and you have an important voice, and you're the community that we're reaching out to so that we can come together and that we can do our own work. And when we do show up, as some of this major stuff is coming down the pike, we have got global and cosmic impact on this planet. Take a look at what's going on just on a natural disaster level, just looking at what's taking place geologically. Look at MRM, Mr. Bradbury on MRM BB333, and there's a handful of others, A Plain Truth, Sean Frost, and they'll tell you what's going on with their YouTube channels. I'm so grateful that they're correlating the data. Jacob Israel has been really good with this as well, and be able to tell you what's happening scientifically and what's happening with our earth. We need to be doing the shadow work, and if we think that we've mastered it, but we're still embodied, number one, good for you. Good for you. You've done a lot of work. I'm going to be the first one to give you the attaboy and the attagirl. But if we haven't built community and we haven't become way showers as soon as we reach that point, and we don't humbly and lucidly keep ourselves in check to make sure that there aren't triggers showing up for us anymore, then there's still some of that layer of shadow work. And then we need to be way showers so that others can be able to impart some of the wisdom of the road that we have trudged ahead of them. I know you all know your journey is unique. It might have kicked your ass at one point. It might have had you wondering whether or not you were even going to make it to where you are right now. But I'm looking at the stream and the folks that are on here, I'm telling you what, you've been doing the work. And I'm honored that you're here joining us tonight because you're part of this community of way showers. And there is a larger community that is looking for the wealth of knowledge that you have. Looking back here and seeing if Genesee had been able to jump on, I'm still looking. Teaching women to balance mind. Jacqueline, beautiful, beautiful. And if you're working exclusively with women, especially those that are healing and stepping into their voice and stepping into their power right now, oh, what a community you have. What a calling you stepped into. We have so many women that did not know how to safely be feminine and equally be fierce. I want to tell you from the conference, Dimensions of Disclosure, one of the most fierce and equally feminine and very clear, lucid voices around stepping into the power and bringing the balance back in this earth sphere of the masculine and the feminine, which we know is so important, was David Wilcock's new wife, Elizabeth Wilcock. She, I think, had 4 black belts in various martial arts applications, and she had gone through some of the same challenges most of us do in these earthian bodies. We're all experiencing the density of these bodies, and we knew when we took the deep dive, when we descended from these higher spheres into these bodies, we knew damn right that this was going to be hard. Trust me, we knew it was going to be hard. We thought we would have a lot more fun, I'm thinking, and we have to remind ourselves that this is a role that we chose to play, a very important one, but we were not meant to be in that old waxing biblical long suffering. We are not meant to be miserable here. That's why we're building community again, right, guys? That's why we're coming together. You are not a lone black sheep. Join my flock. Let me join yours. Let's merge our communities. None of us has to have all the answers. We just need to be sharing in the answers. And we have so many Earthians, we have so many younger souls that have come to this planet, and those that have come back to kind of make this their final Earth life because they don't want to go another 26,000 year cycle. They knew very well that being in the 3D can feel like a prison planet if you don't know that your way out is going inward. Hear that with me, feel that with me. Our way out of the 3D is to go inside. Multidimensionality is in here. All the answers to the cosmos, riding through the spheres within spheres. Those of you that have been big meditators, you know it's in here. So with contrast to tonight's show, or bringing it in, and Genesee, again, the wealth of knowledge that she's looking to share with our audience tonight, you can't fail to find the shadow in here and see the work that still needs to be done. And the piece that I'm working on right now is, as I move about what feels like the clumsy collective chaos of society, especially as I'm experiencing it, having gone for these 2 magnificent conferences, to being in downtown Las Vegas on the Strip. I was just on the Strip earlier this afternoon. I'm here celebrating my husband as a jiu-jitsu master. He's here at the Worlds. Be a little bit personal for a minute. I believe in supporting the 3D aspect of my spouse, and this does it for him. This helps make it real and raw and live. I don't get it, but that's okay. He does, and I'm here to support him. There are mindless humans walking around that feel very heavy to me, and there's so much despair and there's so much misery as you drive through the streets and you see the homeless and you see the hungry and you see those that are not, they're not conscious, they're not fully embodied, they're on this drug or this stimulation, or they've deprived themselves one way or the other. There's so much shadow. You want to know what happens when the event comes sweeping in with these massive solar waves that prophetically every single esoteric faith, every single philosophy, every way shower and sage and prophet has talked to us about? When it burns away the dross, it can take the soul with it. If what they become is more dross than light. This is why we're here to be way showers and help them by being an embodied light being. So we have to do the work first. We have to do the shadow. Just checking and keeping up with the stream here. Jacqueline, oh, there you go. Teaching, beautiful. Yes, I hear you. Okay, so you're working with entire families. So, so important. Genesee, you were called to work with children as well. Yeah, how can we not? Who has a prophetic child in their family right now? One of these little, whether they're indigo or they're starseed, they're crystal children, they are coming down more lucid. For those of you that may or may not have seen, and it was so deeply personal. And I honestly, if I hadn't had 3 of my children say, post it, post it, post it, I would not have done so. But the sweet grandmother who is currently caring for and housing my grandson, for whom I have such a spiritually visceral connection, knowing that he was coming into our lives from the 2 weeks of pregnancy when my daughter was first carrying him all the way through and after his birth, and just having such a powerful connection with him. He is very prone to saying highly prophetic things that just jaw-dropping things. No 2.5-year-old, 3-year-old, very articulate little man. Now he's 4. She recorded him telling her quite a story. And I don't know how much she read into that story, but being one that knows some of the steps that we're looking at in this solar flash and this big event that is coming up, that is beautifully, beautifully prepped and mapped throughout the beginning of time in every one of the esoteric faiths, as well as in archaeology and in the sacred mystery schools, all the way through to what quantum physics is experiencing and astrophysics are defining right now. We've got a lot of relayed science, guys. I will refer you to plenty of others if you want to know exactly where to find it all. David Wilcock has a huge body of work through wisdom teachings. Jacob Israel's done a really good job of kind of collating some of those details and helping us understand. We've just found like 12 new moons with Jupiter. We have an official black hole wormhole singularity right at the edge of our solar system. They're talking about a planet 9, and then they're arguing in the astrophysics community and astronomy community. No, now we're calling it Planet X. Hey, who's ever heard of Marduk or Nibiru or, you know, any of these other foreshadowings of these planets that are coming in? Shit's getting real. Stuff's changing. I'm going to be really frank with you. You'd have to be blind to not notice what's going on with this planet. You'd be blind to not notice how many earthquakes, how many hurricanes, how many tornadoes are going on right now, how many areas of the world that are burning up with what appears to be direct energy weapons and floods. It's not to be dismissed if you're paying attention. So as the world is changing, we need to know exactly how to be prepared. And when we come full circle, I have to sit and be witness to those that are more lucid and intuitive. And getting back to my grandson, he went and started to relay, yeah, we're going to experience going into outer space. And I remember it. He was telling her, I remember it. I posted this on the YouTube channel. That is the video that's gone viral. It is on its way to 4,000 views. And if my children hadn't said, Mom, put it down, it was during Mount Shasta conference, Put it out there. People need to know. And this isn't just my grandson. Out of the mouths of babes, young children that have not had the veil completely brought down on them and have not had parents that have been so rigid in what those children could share, or hushing them down or dismissing their wisdom, they're still speaking, and they're speaking with the tongues of prophets and sages. And that's exactly what he did. And he framed it exactly in the way a child would. But is there anything more exciting than a child who can still see? Is there anything more thrilling than a child who looks at you with total conviction and says, yeah, we just need to cross that bridge. And as soon as we cross that bridge, we're going to start flying in outer space. We got to lay down, though, and get our superpowers first. He's saying this. We were in tears. We were in tears. Other things he said, I can't even go into here because they're honestly too sacred and they're so personal. But I would challenge any of you that are around a darling little niece or nephew. You have some of the children of your own. You stop and listen to children at the park. Be a witness. It was prophetically told that by those children, you will know the truth. You need to listen to the little children because they are more connected to divinity, and they have held on to some of that inner voice that's going on. So that being said, getting back to the shadow work, I'm just checking our thread again. Jacqueline, thank you. I got to tell you, yeah, the lightning everywhere. What's up with the lightning and the big sonic booms? Do you know anyone that has not been touched by these global changes? Do you know even one person who has not been touched by these global changes? People are checking in on Facebook, safe in California, safe in Portugal, safe in Greece, safe in Italy, safe in the Colorado mountains. I was just in Colorado at a conference, Dimensions of Disclosure, and I was at a conference 2 weeks before in Mount Shasta. People, you couldn't see the mountains. Why? Not because of smog, not because of fog, because of the dense, heavy cloud of fires and all of the burning. And it's unquestionably targeted. There's enough photographs now from all over the globe of what looks like either direct lasers at an unnatural angle, or you can actually see that laser turn into what looks like lightning and directly target homes and burn the home and leave all of the landscaping. Burn the home and leave the rest of the neighborhood. Nature doesn't burn like this. Our government and those that are above our governments and that demonstrate the use of our governments know exactly what technologies are available. We've had Tesla technology, for decades and decades. Don't think that we don't know how to do so many of these things that some of these way showers have been telling us and been putting up that sound sensationalistic. It's time to wake up and stop being an infant and stop thinking that the world is a safe place. The world is what we make it. And if we've handed our sovereignty over to those in power for an extended period of time, and we just kind of thought if we make tabs and every now and again try to vote the right guy into office, that's all that we need to do, let's face it, we've been asleep at the wheel for a long time. Our hands have been off the wheel. Maybe even, the generation before us. I don't know that anyone was paying attention past my grandfather's era in World War II, but I know if they were to come back and see what's going on now, they would be horrified. So checking again, Genesee, chakra depth. Okay, chakra depth. This is one of the ways. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, Jacqueline. I know what's going on with Hawaii. Not only do we have the volcanoes, we've had 2 hurricanes / typhoons that have come really, really close. I haven't checked recently to see if the second one's been diverted. But I'm certainly hoping so. And since we have geoengineered weapons, they should be able to move those. So I'm sorry, Genesee, you were saying get into the chakra deck and start doing the shadow. Thank you. Yes, Genesee. I want you to, I'm going to click on you again. Beautiful. I'm going to see if there's any way I can add you to this. It's just not even giving me a window to do anything. Nope, I can't. It's asking me to leave the page to click on you. One more time. It just opens up a whole other YouTube page and does not directly invite you in. All right. Well, we're going to get better at knowing how to do this Facebook Live thing. And I do want to kind of bring this to a close and then bring Genesee back on. And by the time we do, a week from Thursday, we're going to have our show on Monday. Folks, come back. We've got Bridget Nielsen. Who knows who Bridget Nielsen is? Oh my gosh, breath of fresh air, sweet delight. I just wanted to bring her home. But bold gal got right in front of YouTube and said, listen, I've done my shadow work. I've done my healing. I am not a victim. but I have been unconscious up until now in participating in extraterrestrials hybridization programs. And I have had some experiences that many would consider to be violating, and it could have destroyed them. And you know what? She is not only not upset about it, she is vivacious. She is thrilled to have been able to have participated in what she considers to be a worthy and noble cosmic cause. She's going to tell her story, and she is going to allow every single one of us, through that lens that she frames the world with, to step out of the shadow of being the victim, the shadow of the archetype of being the child. How could they do this to me? How did God let these bad guys do this to me? Oh my gosh, these beings that don't look like me, those weren't supposed to be real. She wasn't lost in that. She came to a clear place of, I am one iteration of divinity, and I am really happy to be human, and I am thrilled to be on this planet as a way shower. And she travels between Hawaii, Maui, and Sedona, and teaches others how to come into their empowerment if they have been involved in multidimensional aspects of sharing, you know, direct contact with some of these beings, or being involved in some of their programs, and how to call your power back. And as an experiencer, and having had my children be involved in experience, which I believe some of that story to themselves because I really, really respect anonymity, I can tell you I have a PhD in experiencing, and what you can and what you don't have to participate in. You can draw down your sovereignty, and I mean in a fierce way of I am divinity is me, and I'm not participating. That's one way to handle being an experiencer and having very powerful firsthand encounters. And then there is a swing all the way to the other side that says, I might be okay with this. Am I doing good in the world? Am I participating in a higher cause? Can I interact from a place that makes me feel or allows me to still maintain my power and know in a discerning place when I want to participate and when I don't? The only way to get to the point that Bridget did is to have gone through the shadow work. So coming back to Genesee, we're going to talk about the shadow work a little bit, and I'm hoping to do a full expose on this next Thursday, maybe on the heels of working with having Sweet Bridget on the call and doing an open Q&A. So people come to the community and come to the call. We are going to have our phone lines open. I will be announcing what the telephone number is to call. If you actually go to some of our postings that are on Facebook pre-live on Mondays, there is the call line as well as the Skype to call in. We want your questions because we really are here to build community. This isn't about popularity and being a rock star on Facebook or YouTube or anything else. This is about being here, standing in the fullness of the soulful expression you came here to be at this epic time in human history. So you are our community. I'm so grateful to be part of yours. So grateful that you guys popped on tonight. I'm just going to check the chat room one more time, and then, hey, Nikoa, wonderful to have you with us. We are doing everything that we can. Yes, through Nissan Communications. Thank you, Genesee. We're doing everything that we can to deliver a message without being able to get Sweet Genesee on the call tonight. And Nikoa, you are a pro at Facebook Live. If you want to put in the chat room where Genesee is paying attention, how I can invite her directly onto the call to be part of this co-host. Hey, gorgeous. Mwah. She has some important steps in shadow work, which we have been discussing with those of you that have been here a while. We can't move through as way showers, light bearers, light warriors, wanderers. I know I'm going on with this, guys. Walk-in, starseed, until we have alleviated what is holding us back as these massive planetarian beings, these descended higher divinity and embodied ascended guides that are here for the Earthians that are ready to get off this 3D rock cycle. This lesson has been a hard and long journey for them. So Nikoa, if you have some feedback, put it in the chat room because I want to get Genesee on and share a little bit before we bring it to a close. We're just coming up on the hour, and we've had a little bit of technological challenges, haven't we, guys? We tried to open up originally through Skype and YouTube Live, and the quality and the content was not great. So if you have some ideas, gals, right down here, let me just scroll down and see. Nikoa, I hear her. She's on a desktop. Not sure if that's the problem. I am on a laptop, and I know that I should be able to double click apparently on Genesee's picture and that should allow her to join. And I can't get my sweet Genesee in, and it's just killing me because she had so much to share, and I don't see anywhere else on this screen to be able to bring her in. I don't know, but my friend on Instagram Live allows that, I believe. Well, I've seen it done with others on Facebook Live, and I don't know how they split screened it. They have more technical know-how than I do. I'm a spatial person. I am not a minutia person. And I think that at this point in this juncture, I want to stay that spatial person because it keeps me really lucid to the ethers and the amazing divine data downloads and connection that really serves me and I think will ultimately serve this community. So anyone want to share some shadow work that's coming up for them? Because pay attention, there's some intensity coming in right now. For those of you that jumped on a little bit later, I'm just going to tell you one more time. As Corey Goode received it in the Dimensions of Disclosure conference that he relayed this, as he received it from the Anshar, we are in a cloud and an etheric bubble, if you will, a wave frequency that is kind of like a God cloud or a Christ consciousness cloud that is bringing us into a state of immediate clarity about our karma, immediate clarity about our judgments, and we have the ability to be, and actually are being forced. It's more than ability, it's in our face. I've been calling this the no bullshit zone for a while now. It's like you think something about somebody and it comes right up for you and you're like, oh, wow. Am I that ugly inside? Did I just think that about that person? Do I really have judgments about individuals caught up in one form or another of what I would perceive to be an earthian, kind of sludgy, slow, day-to-day self-maintenance? And did I really think that about them? I thought that I was a lot more unconditionally loving and Christ compassionate. And for those of you that came on later, I'm in Las Vegas. I could not have put myself into a more intense place after all of this amazing conferences to be able to look at myself and realize where I still have unconscious judgments, and I mean unconscious. So let me take this to the next step with the work and why this is so important. Danny, hey, welcome. So wonderful to have you join. Why do we need to go through this Christ consciousness band or this God cloud? He was trying to find the right words, and I could tell Corey was having a hard time with it because it almost was so conceptual that it was hard to envision it being literal. And it's because we are so close. We're in this band frequency where we've started to step into that no BS zone, and we have to see every part of ourselves that's not congruent with really being an evolved ascended master, not congruent with the kind of Christ consciousness and the unconditionally loving aspect, where we still have the shadow. Why? Why is this so important? Because on the end of that band, every single aspect of humanity is becoming more lucid to what? Their higher faculties, their intuitive higher faculties. What does that mean? That means everyone can feel and hear and sense what you're thinking about them because it is now a shared band. This is what the Anshar already have. This is what many extraterrestrial, interdimensional, and inner earth races already have. They have already elevated themselves to the point that you can't hide behind a fake veil of what you think and what you feel. Shake their hand and say, hello, how are you? You look really beautiful today. They can hear what you're saying on the inside. We're about to be introduced to other species that have been very evolved and well situated in their growth trajectory that don't look like us, that could be jarring to us. And coming from this conference, I learned a whole lot more species that I didn't know existed. And I really thought I knew my business by now. And what we think and what we feel, which is an automatic charge, you know, thoughts, an undisciplined mind is like a wild animal. It's just like a primal, you know, bull in a china closet. We have undisciplined thoughts that we've all been working on corralling, and there will always be an emotional correspondent. If we cannot discipline this and find that reflective shadow inside of ourselves and make peace with it, and own it and love it back into being able to reveal itself to us more consistently, we'll never move forward in the discipline of being able to share the bandwidth with which every single one of us can hear what's really going on inside, they're going to know every pervy little thought that goes through your head, folks. They're going to know that you just thought something about them that was very unkind when you make eye contact. How many times do you cast your eyes around a crowd, moving through a Target, in my case, walking through the Strip in downtown Las Vegas, and you think something that you are so grateful that the people around you or the individual you were just thinking about can't hear you and doesn't know? Being an intuitive my whole life, I felt those thoughts. I very often heard those thoughts, and it made life very difficult for me. But I needed to have that if I was to understand that I was a way shower for all those that were waking up to that latent intuition, and that that's the way that the human species is meant to be. Hey, Danny. So that's where we're going. We're in this God cloud, Christ consciousness, spatial, temporal, spatial bubble. And on the other end of it, as we go deeper and deeper into our shadow and through it and come out the other side, as we come out the other side, we are going to come out the other side with a whole lot of Earthians, a whole lot of younger souls that don't know what to do with the fact that they can't muzzle it. We can hear everything they're saying, and they're going to have a lot of comeuppance to deal with. And if we haven't already done the work to be way showers and be able to lovingly offer tools towards disciplining and creating a safety net around how much moves through without having been harnessed, without having been thought through and reflected through, if we haven't done the work, we're not really going to be lucid and powerful way showers, are we? So all of those of you that have joined us in this live stream, thank you. You know why you're here. You're so powerfully needed right now. I am one of many. You are one of many, but together and collectively, we create a quantum field that empowers every single one of us to magnify at a much more extensive and exponential level. So I am honored to be part of your community. I've said this before, but as we're wrapping up, I'm going to say it again. I am honored to be part of your community. I'm so, so honored that you joined us on this quick little live stream tonight. And I want to talk about that shadow work, and we will have Genesee discussing that on Thursday of next week. We will have Bridget on walking us through how she did the reflection so, so deeply. And I mean, she did the deep dive that she came out of it without any of the four main archetypes that so many of us deal with: the victim, the child, the saboteur, and the prostitute. This exists across the board. And this is Carolyn Mace's work, a big part of what I teach in energy medical intuition. Every single one of us can drop into that archetype and let it destroy us. And she did the work, came through it, and as a bright young millennial, powerful, powerful old soul, she's going to be joining us on Monday. So call, join in, and let me just check the stream one more time. Oh, Janine, hello, Alexis. What a pleasure having you guys here. Take a look and see what the live stream is. My understanding of the technology is my first live stream with Facebook. Make sure that you can see this from beginning to end. There was such powerful content at this conference, and the subject of this very unique wave that we're in at the end of this great year and the incoming of these solar flashes. And I'm told there's not going to be one, guys, there's going to be many little incremental flashes. And we've all seen it with this Shamanic Resonance. If you haven't been looking at the Shamanic Resonance, go back and look at June and July and some of the really tough days we've had here in August. It's the Earth's 7.8 hertz, a nice little homeostasis with which all of us have had to be calibrated. Our own frequency, our own natural resonant frequency has to be in harmony with the Earth, and so does all of sentient life, plant, animal, mineral, energetic. And when she bounces up to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 for 5 minutes or 5 hours, we feel wonky. We know, don't we? We know what that feels like. Sometimes we feel insane. Sometimes we can't sleep. Who in North Carolina, for those of you that are on here from North Carolina, were buzzed out of your mind from those thunderstorms that we were having? Who couldn't sleep at 1, 2, and 3 in the morning? I had so much electricity running through my body. We can't not be impacted by the changes that are going on with this globe. Can you imagine having the veil come completely down and coming all the way through this consciousness cloud that we are in right now, that Corey Goode and the Anshar and the Guardians are telling us that we're dealing with right now? Is there any doubt that we're in it right now? How often do you think a thought and the person next to you says the very same thing you were about to say? And it could be trivial, but all of a sudden you're just like, are my thoughts that invisible? Yes, they are. Yeah, they are. We are in this Christ consciousness, God cloud / no bullshit zone. If you aren't doing the shadow work, it's going to catch you on the end. And it will be very humbling to have appeared to be a way shower and come out with the rest of those that are immediately fully visible, fully transparent, and horrified at what you can hear and feel coming off of their field because they haven't disciplined themselves. And you're a way shower, and you may have only developed yourself ever so slightly beyond where they are. This is some serious work we need to be doing now. So it was unconscious. I didn't really realize that on the heels of two conferences that I was going to be at such a high, coming back from being with these amazing people that have been in the disclosure community and the consciousness and ascension community, some of them for a year, some of them for 50, 60 years. Amazing planetarians, high ascended beings that have come down into physical, 3D physical to be here for this epic time. And they've done a lot of the work. I thought I couldn't even be triggered by anything. It took one day on the strip, walking around, running into one muggle after another. And that sounds judgmental, and I hate that about it. But all you have to be is around too many dense people, and you start to realize I am not in my resonant frequency. This is uncomfortable for me. I've had a reset, and it sure is not at this frequency, at this hertz. But we have to be able to be evolved enough and hold that Christ consciousness that as much as you do it under the least of these, you need to be able to handle it with the avatars, the sages, the way showers, the light workers, and you need to be able to hold hands with the people in the gutter. And I'm working on it, guys. I've not perfected it. So thank you for joining us. Janine, thanks for being here. Alexis, wonderful. Hi, Jenna. Wonderful to have you here. Danny, Nicoa, let me just see. Jacqueline. Such an honor to have you here with us. I hope Amy got to spend some good quality time with us before she had to deal with all of our technical difficulties. We are back. The resonance. Ooh, you asked real quick, Janine. Let me just answer this question, and then we'll wrap up. If you go to Michael Bradbury, who was on the show, I think he was on back in June, and the very end of June, and he has a wonderful website, mrmbb333.com. Go to it. A lot of data on that front page. Over on the right hand side, about midway down, you'll see a tab for Shamanic Resonance, and I've had to take pictures of it because I could not believe what the planet has been doing. And the Shamanic Resonance is demonstrating what the cosmic effect is having on our planet. And this is interplanetary climate change. Is there climate change? Yes. Is it for the reasons that we believe? Only a very small part. The Earth goes in cycles, and the cosmos goes in cycles. The solar system moves through the cosmos in cycles. We are at a great cycle. I mean, epic, 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 26,000-year cycle. And when that happens, all of the sentient life on the spheres being impacted based on where they are, and at this point, right next to the center of the Milky Way galaxy. We're not in the boondocks anymore, guys. Throw out those astronomy charts if you had them in high school, college, in your astrophysics classes. They're outdated and they were ill-informed. We are right next to the center of the Milky Way galaxy, where there are gamma rays and millimeter rays, and we are experiencing interplanetary massive energetic and frequency change. And it looks like geographical shifts on every single one of the spheres, and it looks like a lot of extra space junk, and it feels to sentient life here like we're coming off the hinges. And we already know what's going on with society. We already know what's going on with the cancer rates and the homicide and the suicide. So just coming back to it, if you want to look and a little bit more personally, we can talk about that. Please call in on Monday. But yes, the Shamanic Resonance has gone from a stable 7.8 through June and July in particular, and it started to do it again just recently. It's shooting up over 50 on the scale. So imagine taking a volume that you love with your headset, going for your walk in the morning, and turning that up. Do the math. Turning that up 9 times. What would that do to your ears? What would that do to your nerves? That's energetically what the Earth has been doing, because she's bouncing up and down, getting ready to go through a major reset into a 4th dimensional sphere, in and through to a 5th dimensional sphere. And it's super exciting, but it's not going to be comfortable for those of us that are holding on to 3D and we're holding on to our shadow. It's going to hurt. It's going to ache. It's going to be really maddening and disorienting. And some of us have been experiencing some of the dark night of the soul and some of the madness already. So getting back to what Genesee has to share and what I am here to support her in sharing, there are 7 steps to attending to the shadow. And I am a wayshower. I am a light worker. I may even be a walk-in. I am definitely starseed. I've had this confirmation my whole life. I've just known things that I couldn't talk about. And many of you that are here right now, you can relate to all of it. And I can tell you right now, the 3D being that I am running in, this vehicle that I'm in, still has some shadow. I'm disappointed and humbled to say it, but I'm here and I'm doing the work. And I've come to Sin City to test my mettle. So show up on Monday, get onto the call, and share your work and share your community, and let's bring it together. Let's fortify and strengthen another. First, starting with unconditional love, forgiveness, and kindness. We have a safe container, all of us, very safe container. And as we build out this way showing community, we really can show up for those that are just on the beginning of waking up to what this epic time in human history is about. So thank you. I'm so honored. I'm so honored to be part of this community. I'm so honored to have this amazing co-host, Genesee Roy. I'm disappointed I wasn't able to get her on tonight. She'll be with us on Monday, and we'll have all this tech figured out by next Thursday. But you are the reason. You are so much the reason that we are doing this. If I was alone in this, this would not be my platform. I would have hermited a long time ago by now. I'm here because I recognize there is a community, and I'm so, so overjoyed to be a part of it. So you have an amazing evening. Come back Monday night, 7 to 8 p.m. Come and hear Bridget. Come and hear what it's like to be born lucid and awake and be in such a young and vivacious body. It's going to make you feel eternal listening to this sweet soul. Excited to have all of you. Thanks. We're going to wrap up now. Much love. Mwah. See you all soon.